Today we're here with Vanessa. How's it going?
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing good. Definitely wanted to get you on the show. From what I hear, you are one of the best realtors
Wow, thank you.
in the state of Arizona. So definitely wanted to kind of talk to you about that. Is that okay?
Of course, I'm here for it.
All right. So before we kind of really get into it, I just want to know what made you get into real estate?
I have always just loved all different aspects of real estate as far as the commercial side, the building side, development, construction sites, like the design of it. Pretty much everything that goes into real estate. I'm all for it.
So you do real estate, you do commercial and residential?
I do. So I'm kind of like dabbling into commercial at this point right now. So when I had my network back in Minnesota,
Okay.
I networked with mostly commercial individuals, commercial real estate individuals. But now that I've moved out here, I'm tailoring it towards residential more.
Residential.
Right.
So how long you been in Arizona?
I've been out here for 4 years now.
4 years. Do
Yes.
you like it?
I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
I went from one extreme to the other. So Minnesota being super cold,
Right.
coming down here to this, the extreme heat.
Yeah.
But
What made you
absolutely.
come down here?
I came down for business. I did
Okay.
consulting for 12 years. So came down here and just fell in love with the atmosphere, the growth of Arizona. Like this is a newer state. It's like the 48th state, everybody
Right.
knows, and so it's only been around for 111 years.
Right.
Back in Minnesota, my house was 111 years old.
Oh,
So
wow.
it's like, that is so exciting to me that the growth
Right.
is happening out here and developments and projects. So it's
Right.
very exciting to be part of.
Yeah, it's different. With me being from New Orleans, like when I first got out here, I came here after Hurricane Katrina.
Oh, gosh.
And when I came out here, half the stuff that's here is not here.
Right.
And it's now when I look back to when I first came here to now, it's like, wow.
Mm-hmm.
And it continues to grow.
It's continuing. We're bringing
So-
out all different types of companies are moving out here because we're cheaper than like California and
Right.
stuff. So, and we've got the acreage. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
it's exciting.
So when you're doing like in real estate, do you do more like new developments or current developments or?
Yeah, so we call them like resale or new builds. And so the new builds they have spec homes, which are basically saying like, we just created this house. It's brand new, but you don't get any choices. You don't get to decide what kind of tile or carpeting comes in. You get what you get.
Right.
And that's a spec home. Those are available within like 30 days to like 90 days. So it's whoever needs to move like kind of quickly would look at a spec home. New builds can take a year or longer to build if you're going to be kind of putting your input in on it.
Right.
And then you've got the resale homes that have already been created and you can just move in, when it's the closing time. So I work with all of them.
Okay. So I'm gonna ask you this. So I was looking for a house a lot of time, and I started hearing different things. So what is this that, like, certain times my realtor wasn't able to be available to go take me to see homes, and they had some new builds, but they would always tell me like, "Hey, don't go to that new build first,
Yes.
because if you go to them first, it cuts out." So
It cuts out the
is that
middleman.
some truth? Is that
That is
some
very
truth
true. Yes. So if you sign, it's called a buyer broker agreement. If you're signing that with your realtor, let's say you've interviewed 2, 3 realtors and you're like, okay, I really like that person.
Okay.
And you're signing a BBA with them. It's saying, hey, I want you to work for me and I'm going to work with you.
Okay.
And I won't work with any other, realtors. And so if you were to go into a new build, it's a different situation because you're going on their grounds now. And so a lot of people think in their mind, oh yeah, there's realtors at the new build. I'll just go work with them. They're actually representing the builders. So they're not there to help you. They're not there to help negotiate your contract. They're not there to really, think of your best interest in mind. So you want to go in represented from your realtor. And so if you were to go in by yourself, that one, the builder's realtor is going to snatch you up and say, okay, well, they weren't here, so therefore
So-
they're not getting commission.
So, like, say for instance, for me, sometimes I didn't know that at first. So,
Mm-hmm.
if you don't know that, and say you go to this new bill and you
Yes.
use one of their realtors and you don't
Yes.
like them, are you able to then backpedal and go get an outside realtor?
No.
No?
It's pretty much they need to be there on your first visit,
Okay.
walking in with you, or at least they need to know of you if you can't make it, if you're on vacation or something like that.
Right.
At least that they know that you already have your realtor. But For the most part, you're supposed to be walking in with them at that first session at least, and then you'll be in the system. But then you won't have to be there for every single thing. Like you'll go and check out, inspections. There's
Right.
periodic inspections and stuff like that. You don't have to be there for every single meeting after that.
Okay.
But for the first one, they want you there. And a lot of people don't know that. Same thing kind of like with open houses too. So if you have a realtor that you're working with, but let's say you're like, oh, here's an open house, I'm just going to go walk in. It's really whoever is showing the home is supposed to get the commissions on it. And if it's that realtor there that's, representing the seller, same situation. You're not going to be represented with that. I get so many people that come in and say, I'm just going to call the listing agent. I'm just going to call the listing agent and work with them. That's not helping you any because their fiduciary responsibility is to the seller. And so what you really want to do is be protected and represented in any of these transactions.
So can a realtor be for the seller and a buyer?
Yes, they can. It's
Is
a
that
dual.
a conflict of interest?
It kind of is, because it's limiting how much you can negotiate really.
Okay.
And if they signed with the seller first and then they get the buyer, they have to be like tiptoeing through the transaction. It's called dual. So, but it can be done. It's not.
Have you ever done it?
I have not, but it is, like I said, it can be done.
can be done.
It's just think of it. What's best for me? What would be best for me is if I get my own realtor that actually represents me and comes in, knows how to negotiate, hears the stories, because when you're kind of covering both the buyer and the seller, you can't really share information with them. And so that,
Gotcha.
so it limits what you can do.
Right.
So,
Okay. So I've had a lot of people reach out to me for questions. So right now, do you know of like, for first-time home buyers?
Yes.
Right? What are some of the key things that they need to know? I hear a lot of people say, hey, first-time home buyers, go get these grants, go do this, go do that. If you had, I know a lot of people that's going to be listening are first-time home buyers. Give them 3 little small tips, little nuggets that, they should be looking at and look out for when they're starting to get into looking for a home.
Okay. I would say the sooner the better, period. Start saving, number one. Start saving because when you are ready to purchase a home, those down payment assistance programs might not be around. So those kind of fell off last year, so that might not always be there for you. But if you're saving, then you're going to be coming in stronger and you will be a better fit. You might get that offer accepted because you're putting a little bit more down. So saving is hands down the most important thing, and just reaching out to like myself or starting that conversation with a lender immediately too, even if you don't think you're going to be purchasing for a year or two. Get those conversations started, because if you have to repair anything on your credit, if you have to, decide on if you're going to do conventional, FHA, so all of those different conversations will help you figure out the plan of attack, basically, of how you're going to purchase a home. So yes, save, contact your lender or contact me to get those conversations started. And then just really, it's all about prep work, because the more you do in the beginning to prep, the more successful and the more smooth your transaction will go. If you're trying to go look at houses right now, because I get people all the time, they're calling me, can I go look at this house? Yeah, we can go look at it, but did you get pre-approved?
Right.
No. So we're looking outside of your budget. So it's like, that doesn't help you. It's only going to make you sad or, disappointed.
You're gonna look for something that you really can't
exactly.
get.
Like, no,
your
your price point was $250, but you're looking
Right.
at $500. So it just doesn't really make sense. So it's really all about the prep work that you do beforehand, and then getting the pre-qualification, and then kind of doing it in the right order, I would say, is really going to set you up for success.
Okay, so which one would you say most important? Because I hear it a lot. Is it you going a lot? I hear a lot of people say, "Well, you know what? I'm just about to go work on my credit first, and then I'll start saving later." Then certain people say you should save and then do that. Some people say, "Well, talk to a lender or a realtor first, because you may be working on things on your credit that may not need to be fixed."
Yes.
So I hear a lot of different things. Tell me what your expert opinion
I
on
would
which one
say,
you should go.
yes, definitely. The conversations. Call me. I know lenders too out here. I've got a great circle of lenders, brokers. So call me first. And then from there, we will talk about your unique situation. Everybody's different. So some people might already have like a 580 credit score or a 740. And that's going to already set them up differently, you know.
Right.
So every single client is different. I've never had two that are the same.
Gotcha.
Every situation is different. Your work history, your your income, all of that is different based on each individual person. So I would say get the conversation started like with me, and then I can kind of see, okay, you're wanting to do this, you're wanting to do that. I know a lender that would actually work well with you. So it's kind of like you can start saving, but again, like you mentioned, well, how much do I need to save? Well, the lender can tell you we'll need this exact amount, even if you're still not trying to do it for 2 years. But it's just really kind of getting that strategy or that plan together. Right. Think of it as like a roadmap for you specifically. Right. It's not going to work for everybody. Gotcha. So yours is unique to you.
Right. Mm-hmm. So what's and credit plays a big factor in so many different things.
It does.
What's the lowest credit score you've seen that someone had that was able to get approved for a house?
I would say like 550.
550.
Yeah, that I've personally worked with.
That you personally worked with?
That I've personally worked with, yes. And they also, their situation, again, was different and unique. Right. They had, like 3 kids, a pit bull, so they couldn't just go rent a house or go into an apartment or anything like that with that kind of family. It's like, well, did you ever consider buying a home? Right. Well, my credit's shot. Well, let's really take a look at it. You might think it's shot. Somebody else might have told you it was shot, but let's really look at it together and determine if it is or not. And what we can do, there's credit repair. Or they might say, oh, you only had like 2 $30 items and a $300 item. Well, now that we've paid those off, we'll wait an extra month and see what you qualify for then. Your credit score can go up.
So you're not a realtor that's just like, hey, come to me, prove the not, and I'm not working with them. So
no.
So you're willing to work with people that have bad credit, walk them through the steps, even if they can't get it right now.
Oh, yeah.
You willing to work with them throughout the whole process to get them approved.
I am. And it's so cute because they'll say like, oh, after we like find them a house too. Right. I won't see you anymore, Vanessa. It's like, oh no, I'm going to be here until you get your keys. I'll even be here after the fact.
Right.
Because it's like, I want to make sure that their solar, got transferred properly
right.
and make sure that they are set up. And then I like to reach out within like 3 months. Can I come over, take a look at the house, see how you've styled it? And if they have questions about anything else, it's like, I want to be there for the life haul. I'm not there just for this one transaction. Right. I'm trying to make lifelong relationships with my folks. And I like the process because, again, everyone is different and they have to go through different processes.
Right.
So it's fascinating for me and it's exciting for me to actually watch them kind of like learn and ask these questions and then see them go like, oh, I didn't have good credit at first and now I'm here and now I'm ready. I love watching that whole process. So I'm there.
Okay. So, I've got my personal opinion of you now.
Okay.
Okay. But what I mean by that is, so what would you say really sets you apart from other realtors? And that's where I come in when I just said that. Because I've worked with a lot of realtors and I'm like, oh, okay, my realtor didn't do that. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, after I got my keys, I don't even know where my realtor at anymore. So what would you say that really sets you apart from a lot of the other realtors?
Quite honestly, like the word that always pops in my mind is I'm genuine. Like I genuinely care about people. I genuinely love to help people. Okay. And I genuinely want to see them succeed and get their goals, Their goals could be, I want to get the $2 million house. Their goals could be, I want to get a $300,000 house. I don't have like I only work with those kind of folks, I don't have that. I'm like, I'm there to help anybody, Right. And my thing is I want to work with clients who appreciate me and know that I bring value to the table, Okay. And it's like, and I, vice versa. I'm going to respect you. I'm going to appreciate you as well. And I'm going to work hard for you, I'm not just going to, okay, go call them, And it's like I have people that say, well, I just went to this open house down the street and the guy didn't know any of the answers about the house, didn't know this, didn't know that. I'm like, they don't make them, all realtors are not created equally.
Right.
And the other part to it too is I'm not trying to work with the whole world. I'm not. I am trying to work with my individual clients. Like if I was helping you, you're my client right now. And you're the only one that you don't know how many other ones I'm working with because you feel like you're like the only one. Right. I'm paying attention to you. I'm talking to you. Some other realtors might get a little bit more, top producing and say, well, I don't show houses. I don't do that. Not knocking their business at all.
Right.
It's just not my business.
Not your forte.
That's not my thing because I love watching the process. I love being there, walking them through the houses, explaining the house, talking to them about what their needs are. I love going through that process with them. And I'm not just going to have a showing agent. I'll do that part, No, and then I only come in to do the contract and get the money. That's not my thing. No.
Yeah. So, and I'm noticing that. So, would you consider yourself being a flexible realtor? And what I mean by that, I've worked with certain realtors before, and it's like, well, hey, I only can show houses on Tuesdays and Fridays from 3 to 6, and it's like, okay, well, I'm gonna send my assistant, and I'm sitting here like, okay, am I just like, what's like? So I thought you should be working with my schedule,
Right.
like not me working with your schedule.
Right.
When you're looking at it as far as a flexibility standpoint, and I think a lot of it was because, from a while ago, when COVID, the housing market kind of slowed down a little bit. So I know a lot of people had to go get like a second job or third
Right.
job. So then it was like, okay, well, I'm still a realtor, but I need you to work around my schedule.
Right.
So when you're looking at you as far as the flexibility wise, do you have any assistants? Is it just you hands on? Like, how is that?
It's me. It's me. I'm the one you get,
Okay.
I'm there from the beginning to the end. And like I said, even beyond, So I'm full time.
Okay.
And so a lot of other agents here, there's like 54,000 agents here in Arizona. And a lot of them are part time. They do it on the side. That's their business. Again, not knocking anybody, but you do what you have to do.
Right.
But for me, I am full time and I do take this seriously. And because I am full time, I get a lot more experience and I get into the thick of things and the
Right.
weeds, and I can learn quicker and I can experience different transactions better because I've got a taste from all different areas, So
Okay.
some people are just like part time. I don't do it for a lot of people. I only do it for referrals, so it just kind of depends. Again, we're not all
different.
We're all
Right.
different. We're all
Right.
so different, and that's why I really do encourage that you do interview your realtor, because you might meet with somebody, and just because you met with them the first time doesn't mean you have to work with them.
Right.
You can get that vibe from them, see if it's a relationship that you want to continue or
Now,
not.
are you able to work with multiple realtors at the same time?
I don't recommend it because, again, if you're signing that buyer broker agreement saying, hey, I'm going to work for you, you're going to work for me kind of thing, it just, then they're not going to give you 100%. So if you're like, well, I've got 3 realtors, whoever finds me the house quicker, but then they might not be taking you seriously. And they might only reach out to you every quarter or something like that. So they might not be putting in 100%. So it is better to just get that relationship with the one that you want to work with, so they can actually understand what you want and understand your needs and then be able to help
Personalize it a
you.
little bit
Exactly.
Okay. So before I let you go, there's a couple other questions I had some people wanted me to ask.
Yes.
So like, say for instance, if you have a married couple,
Yes.
right? And say as a married couple, the wife brought a house, she used the first time home buyers thing or whatever. And then say they sold the house or whatever, and now her husband wants to buy a house. Do he still qualify for the first time home buyers?
Yeah.
If they're doing it separately?
There's like a misunderstanding about first time home buying like programs.
Okay.
I keep saying it over and over again. It's a unique situation.
Right.
We have to talk to either a broker or a lender and kind of see like, okay, well, they sold that house 3 years ago, so you're starting fresh again. You can be a first time home buyer again now that was 2-3 years ago. Right. So it just really depends. So we have to kind of take those by case by case.
Basis.
Yes.
Gotcha. Okay.
And it's not a one size fits all. Gotcha.
So is it any unique time or the best time to buy a house? Does the season matter? The fall, spring, winter, beginning of the year, end of the year? Like, is there a soft spot when you should purchase a home?
I would say I love this question because there's not. So I would answer that just by saying it's the right time when it's the right time for you.
Okay.
Because interest rates will always go up and down. Inventory will always go up and down. But your life situation is unique to you. Some people have divorces. Some people just lost somebody and they're a widow or a widower, and so some people might be getting married. Some are just having like 3 kids, so
Right.
if it's a good time for you, then it's a good time. but we can talk about that and say like, okay, well, this is what's happening in my life right now. What steps can I take to make this more successful for myself? So try not to focus on what the media is saying.
Okay.
Houses get bought and sold every single day, no matter what the interest rate is, no matter if a recession is, hanging over our heads, houses get bought and sold every day.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what do you think about this? The notion I've heard a lot of people say like the interest rates are going high, and then people, I've heard a lot of realtors still encourage people to buy.
Yes.
That's okay, buy, because you still buy, and then once the interest rates go down, you can refinance.
Exactly.
But other people's like, no, they're just trying to get you to do this. Like, what is your viewpoint on that?
Yeah. I consider myself to be a consultant. And so I would want to consult with you individually to make sure that, okay, I'm not just selling you. I'm not trying to sell you. I'm considering your best interest in mind.
Okay.
And so if we're talking and I'm like, hey, you know what? It is a good time to buy right now because you're not dealing with competition.
Okay.
There's a lot of buyers that have pulled out of the game. When the things started changing around May, June, July of last year, a lot of buyers said, nope, I'm putting a hold on it. I'm waiting. So then they're going to, they went into like a year lease. So all those folks are going to come right back around again in a year and try to buy. So it's like, well, right now we've still got a little time where there's not as much competition, where there's 30 offers on, on one single home.
Right.
You might just be dealing with like maybe one more person who's in competition with you. And so then I kind of come in as the negotiator and just kind of say, and I build those relationships with other agents too. Like I'm always professional. I'm not rude to anybody. I've always get those relationships with other agents.
Right.
So when I see their name again, like I've got another one that I just got under contract and I've worked with her in the past and she actually chose our contract and our offer because it's like I've built that relationship with her and it's like, oh, Vanessa's professional. She gets the documents done. She gets everything organized and in a timely fashion. So doing that is kind of like, all right, good. Yeah.
So nice. So just from me hearing it, you're just not just a realtor. You are a consultant as well.
I am a consultant. I just, like I said, a lot of people will say, oh, realtors are like car salesmen. You guys just want cash. There are some out there who are like that, who just look at you and just see a dollar sign above your head, like, okay, well, what's your price point? $780. Okay, I'll work with you. But for me, again, I'm consulting. I'm consulting you, and I'm helping you make the best decision.
So it doesn't matter if it's $1 million house versus $40,000 house. You're willing to work with whoever, as long as it fits within both of you.
Exactly. If we're vibing, we talk to each other and we're like, hey, you know what? I would love to help you. Would you want to work with me? Yes. Okay, great. I would love to do this. I've sold land. It's not just about houses all the time. I'm working with a client right now who's looking for a barber shop, so again, that's the commercial side of it. But yeah, so I like to dibble and dabble into a lot of things. Yeah. I like to have variety. So I don't mind dealing with the land over here and then coming back over here and working with a $1.5 million house. I like that. Keeps me on my toes. Yeah.
Right. Nice.
Yeah.
So for people who don't know, you're still new to Arizona.
Yes.
Tell me, we'll get into your little personal a little bit,
Oh gosh.
If you're looking at
personal.
Yeah, we're looking at your friends, say we're looking back in Minnesota at your friend and things like that.
Yes.
And if they had to describe you in one word, what would that word be?
That's a good question. Determined.
Determined?
Oh, yeah. I don't ever give up on anything. And going into real estate, I'm like, you know what? I'm taking this huge risk. I'm leaving my career in the corporate world. I'm leaving that behind. And I'm jumping into real estate because with risk comes reward.
Right.
And I took that, and I'm determined. I'm determined to succeed. I won't sit down and I won't let anything, happen where I can't win, basically.
Right. I love it. We love it. So if we're asking, what's your 5-year plan? What's your 5-year goal professionally?
Yes. I would love to keep working residential, but I would like to get more into the commercial, understand more the development side of it.
Okay.
Because I do like watching the progress of a project, so from like the concept of an idea to watching it being built, going through the construction period, and then watching the design elements come through, and then watching it at the final stage. I love that whole piece. So it's like, I'm going to try to just get into every little area over the
Nice.
next 5 years
Wow.
Yes.
So you really came to Arizona to
to take over the world.
take over.
Trying.
Yeah, really. So for the people that's listening and watching, if they wanted to reach out to you
Yes.
and have you represent them, do you have a social media? Do you have a website? Like how like what would be the first steps to work with you?
I would say call me. Call me. Reach out to me on Facebook, reach out to me on Instagram. I would say even going directly to my website. So, do you want me to just say it online right now?
Yeah, you can go ahead and say it. They also say it on the screen as well, but you can
perfect.
go ahead and say it as well.
Yeah, so call me at 612-800-1575. My Instagram is Vanessa, Vanessa, period, Sayers, Sayers, period, Realtor. And so they can find me that way. And then on Facebook, it's just Vanessa Sayers. You'll see me.
Yeah.
You'll see me on there. And then my website is going to be www.vanessasayersPLLC.com. And so if they go directly to my website, they can subscribe. And then from there, they'll get the listings of homes and everything like that for Arizona.
Nice. Well, you heard it here. Definitely, I think that Vanessa is one of the best realtors in the state of Arizona. Just from me personally purchasing a couple homes myself, I've worked with tons of realtors, and like I said, it's a lot of them is just a basic transaction. They meet you like, hey, this, that, and the other. They don't follow up. How do you like your house? How do this? And they're just really pushy, and you don't feel like that genuine. Like, I want to help you find a home. A lot of them like, hey, I just need you to get this house to get a commission.
Right.
But I think that, to me personally, just from speaking with you and things like that, I think that's the big difference between you and other realtors. So
Thank you.
I would highly suggest you guys reach out to her. I really appreciate you guys coming. Really appreciate you coming in. And like I said, if anybody personally asks me if it's okay, I will definitely refer them to you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me on the show. Appreciate
All right,
it.
no
Thank you.
problem. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.